Hi, how you doing? Instagram Live, my first time. I'm gonna take off this mask. I wear this one that goes around my neck so that I don't have to keep putting into a pocket or anything. Cause excessive masks, all that stuff. So hey guys, maybe for a second just tell me where you're from in the comments, because Keiko's gonna join us in a couple seconds. Charles Green, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Detroit. There's Keiko from Brooklyn, but she's in upstate New York. JB, where are you? Let me know. Anyway, I'm here in my home office and New Jersey. All right. Home in my California, LA home office, and I'm pretty happy that I've been working at home for a while because it really wasn't transition to start working at home when everything happened. In fact, it was pretty much the same. So,
Hello.
hey, Miss
Hi.
Case,
How are
Lady Keiko, how
you?
you doing?
I have good.
Everyone to shout out where they're from. I saw New Jersey. I know
Great.
you're in Margaretville, is it? Upstate New
Yeah.
York?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here in sunny, hot LA. It's like 90 degrees today.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
It gets too hot in the day, actually. Like in the middle of the day, I kind of want to hide.
Yeah.
So it's a little
Right.
too much.
I
Yeah.
saw a mask. Did you make that mask?
Well, I had taken a shibori, which is Japanese tie-dye
Hmm.
class at one of the local schools here, and I had these little pieces that you can really do anything with them.
Hmm.
But when the mask stuff happened, my friend Carol Young from Undesign
Yeah.
LA
Uh-huh.
was making masks, and I like hers because it has a lanyard you can have around your neck, and
Nice.
then you kind of pull it over your you put it up and you put it over your ears, so that way you don't have to keep taking it on and off
On and
inside,
off.
in a
Right.
pocket or so forth.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah. How have
I
you
was,
been doing during this quarantine?
oh,
Like
what I've
with
been doing, freaking out. No.
Yes. I mean, my first month was like freaking out. But
Yeah.
it's settled now. Are you healthy?
I'm very healthy. California's definitely been like a weird state in terms of they expected it to be super intense. It hasn't been as bad as they thought, but it's also not great.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of like the deal here. So, I don't know. They're going to start opening up some stuff, but Newsom's been pretty, Governor Newsom's been pretty strict about things.
Yeah.
So, and we started a little bit earlier than New York
Yeah.
because there were cases earlier. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking that has helped. But I don't know. Now I feel like, okay, my life hasn't changed too much. I already work at home.
Yeah.
This is my home office.
Yeah. I feel like the car culture a little bit helps, you
Oh,
know?
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
everybody's isolated when they're commuting at least.
Yeah. I mean, I've probably taken the subway about 3 times since living in LA. And even it's never as crowded as in New York where you're pressed together. So, I, having been someone who also still has a residence in New York City, really feels empathetic to that. And I'm happy that I happened to be here when this happened, because my apartment in New York is actually really, really tiny. It's
You
it's
would
a
get stir
Chinatown kind of a
crazy.
thing. Like, yeah, it's I'm just so happy that I'm here. So practicing gratitude has been a big thing in terms of dealing with this crazy time.
Yes. Oh, definitely. That's how you stay positive. I'm like, is there like a mantra you go by, or you're kind of like just meditating, doing a little
Well,
yoga? Do you have a routine you can share?
I
Or
guess
you,
for a while I was doing like a daily gratitude list, and just keeping it in the notes on my computer, and just like waking up and saying, like, I'm healthy, like I'm good, I'm with Tim, my fiance, like I have him as a support. I mean, a big thing I was grateful for is I actually already had my shoes for the spring because I had purchased them
great.
early in advance.
Right.
So
And
yeah, I didn't get stuck in like the China, because I make my shoes in China. I'm going to be totally transparent about that. I didn't get stuck in their slowdown because of their corona, and I had everything, and I actually had everything photographed and ready to go. So, you know, I'm really grateful that just I was prepared.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was a little concerned at first. I was like, you know, should I launch a spring at all? Is it like appropriate? Are people going to buy things? Are people, do they even really care? You know, and I saw a lot of like ads that may have been programmed through Facebook earlier that said like, you know, just kept on like flashing their like, you know, whatever they were selling, and without any kind of recognition of what was going on. And I figured that was just already in the pipeline, but
Right.
I was very sensitive to the feeling of the market for that first month, you know, maybe for even the first 6 weeks. And yeah, it was scary. It still is scary.
It is. It is. Yeah. I'm glad you're like, yeah, that's good that you have the shipment. Can I do a little real talk? Is that okay if I ask you about like,
let's go for it.
Did you apply for some small business loans or SBA, like PPP, that kind of stuff?
Well, I'm pretty much, I mean, when I talk about small business, I'm a really small business. I mean, I can't even believe they would say that like Ruth Chris is a small business or something. You know, I mean, it's like, I don't even know how someone thinks that's a small business.
Yeah.
But so I don't have any payroll. So PPP is only for people with payroll.
Right.
And it makes sense because you have to protect your workers.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not making any sales, you're not doing any business. So I applied for what was called EIDL, and I don't remember what that stands for right now. And I did not have any expectations of getting anything, but I did apply like the first day, you know, like I got on it.
Yeah.
And about 2 weeks ago, I did get a small deposit in my business bank account. And I was like, it was kind of cryptic. It was like, you know, SBA, Prej, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, so forth.
But
I was like, okay, I mean, I got something. Well, and it's going to help. But I mean, it's not a ton. And I mean, it's not really much at all. But at least I didn't get lost in the shuffle. And I'm happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Did you do the same?
Yes.
And?
Yes, I did the same. I got what's it called? The same SBA, and I guess because it's a one employee company, it's per head, it seems like. So I got $1,000. It's like, okay, what's that gonna do?
High five, Keiko.
High five, yes. But it's also like, it's not really gonna cover rent, but that's okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't actually know. Do we have to
a little bit about your line?
Oh, sorry. Okay. About my line, yeah.
The SBA, the loan, I don't think you have to pay it back. That's a forgivable one.
Oh, okay, that's good. We like forgivable.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, a little bit about your line. Please tell us a little bit about your line. And we have questions about like, how do you come out with the new colors? Do you have like a theme? How many colors do you normally have? How many pairs per color do you normally have? And all that questions, details.
A babouche, a little bit of anti-moisture packet just fell out. It's a babouche shoe, which is traditionally a Moroccan, I guess, design from Morocco, that I always admired as just kind of a classic silhouette that's stood the test of time. But it was always so flat, like almost like wearing nothing, like just a flat piece of leather with no padding in it. And that's just the way that those shoes from Morocco are. So I knew that if I up-leveled it and elevated the design for more wearability and did the sneaker bottom, that it would be really something that you could get a lot of mileage out of. Mm-hmm. And I also like the silhouette of being very elegant, and I knew it was a good application to do a lot of different leathers, or even like a blank canvas that could be done, treated in certain ways, which is something that we can talk about exploring like going forward. And then I had a factory that I met through you, Julie, who agreed to work on the development with me, and we got the memory foam footbed and did all sorts of treatments, you know, to get it to be super comfortable and super wearable. So that's really the genesis of that, in terms of like the silhouette and kind of the business being focused on just one silhouette, like two different versions of one silhouette.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the shoe.
Yes. And you know, as an independent designer, considering how it's hard to have your own line, your price point is really affordable, I think, in general. And I was wondering how you got to that point. Like, how did you get to that pricing?
Well, I'll be honest, last year was not a profitable year, and that was like really my first year. So, you know, maybe there's maybe there's something about my prices that well, in a different time I might adjust. Right now, I think is not the time to adjust it. Um, so I guess it was a combination of really thinking about the market, and I'm very keen on that because I've worked both as an independent designer and also in corporate design. And everything when you're working in a corporate design is price point, price point, price point. And it's like, you know, they think about tiers of pricing, like what is below 99, what is like below 149. And a lot of the buying teams are actually like at a big department store are segmented by price point too. So it's a big conversation about, you know, what's the price point that moves and what is psychologically the something that people feel comfortable with, and something that people will also appreciate, like say like, okay, you know, if it's a independent designer who's using salvage material and is being mindful of certain things, maybe that's more worth it than like a DSW $59 shoe that's from you know, a private label level of a bigger company that you might not even know is producing those. So I was very clear of what, you know, I felt comfortable paying. I talked to some of my friends, and then, you know, just really thought about like the market in terms of if I looked at it from a boutique level, what was the price point that sells there? What's the price point that moves? And then, you know, I had to be really clear about my first cost at the factory. Like, okay, I'm not buying a lot of shoes, you know, because I'm not working with large quantities, so you don't really get any break there. And I have to manage a lot of logistics myself, so that costs something.
Yeah.
To get to a comfortable what I considered my own cost of goods sold, or you know, if you put it all in, the shoe, transport, logistics, packaging, so forth, you know, what that shoe cost me. And then a lot of the dialogue now has been about the cost of bringing in like a new consumer. Like if you're doing Facebook ads, so forth, you know, what is the cost per click and all those things, which is really too kind of confusing for me. But I feel like, okay, well, I get the shoe's going to cost this and it's cost that. Then I think about, well, what do I need to actually keep my home business going, and let alone a studio or anything like that? You know, what do I need to
sustain yourself?
Yes, sustain myself. And work that out. And you know, as a result, I don't do a lot of wholesale, because I know that while that's where you get people buying, you know, a store buy like 24 pairs or something, is for me to get the cost that's going to sell through for them, I'm not going to really make any money.
Anything.
And so I don't do like the Vegas shows or a lot of wholesale.
You go direct to consumer.
So it really only works in terms of profitability with direct to consumer. I do partner with some wholesale accounts that have been very good to me, and that we work kind of as a partnership. And it's important to have the shoes out there in the real world and have people try them on. But I have to be very selective of that, like whether or not they can really embrace what I do, and whether or not they're going to take the time to sell it. And you know, you have to factor in a lot of those things. So yeah, it really only works as a direct consumer.
Right. I think you're very transparent about it, and you're very generous. I think that the price point is what it is. And, you know, like the Everlane model, you know, they tell you how much it costs. And then I think at the end, you're really like, you're compromising your portion, you know? I think that's how you keep your prices low, I feel like. But what is the best part about having your own business, and like the least favorite part of being a business owner at the moment?
At the moment, I think is working lean and small, and not having any, you know, being able to like make decisions about like what to cut really quickly, and not feel too remorseful about it. Like, for example, I had purchase liability insurance because I do a lot of live events, and then these events are being canceled. So I'm like, okay, that's got to go right away. And I just made a phone call, and it wasn't like a big process. And then the other way, in terms of figuring out what I want to put on social media or what I want to do with the shoes, I can make those decisions instinctively too,
Right.
and learn from them. And I think in the day now about authentic communication, I mean, it really has to be like me being authentic about it and not going through like 3 layers of approvals with other teams, so
Yeah.
that we all feel, you know, we've put our words in, or, you know, we've had our say. So I think that's the best part of just being able to act quickly,
Yeah.
and or not act. You know, sometimes I'm just like, you know what, I just can't. I need to take some time off right now, and I'm just going to do it. And
Right.
you know, you suffer the consequences there too if you're not selling. But
Right. Right.
there's that. And then I think the
Yeah. Yeah.
least part is really having, you know, no one to really suffer through it with you when things are tough. You know, like
Right.
you know, essentially, if I'm doing something, I'm not doing something else. And if I'm not doing that, I'm not doing something else either. So I don't have um, anyone to like shoulder the burden, the financial burden. So I think that's hard. And I've always been thinking like I wanted to build this and get like an investment partner or something, and that would be great. But I think now, I think that's, you know, going to be a real challenge.
Right. But I remember you used to do breakfast clubs when you were in New York. Do you
Oh
have
yeah.
business owner friends that you chat with on like a regular basis?
Yeah, and I think, you know, I haven't had anything structured like that. Like Breakfast Club was about like 6 independent designers in New York, and we would get together once a month and have breakfast, and we would have an agenda for the meeting, so to speak, and maybe one person would do a small presentation about something that they were challenged with, or there could be a presentation about like, oh, well, I'm thinking about these colors. Do you guys like them? Like, you know, is this a good
Hmm.
match here? So it was having an active sounding board. And even when I left New York, we tried to keep it going when I came back to visit, or online. But I think now, yeah, that's probably a good time now to structure something like that. I mean, everyone's getting used to Zoom calls,
Yeah.
and put together something like that again. And I mean, I think the hard part is like getting people to stick to it, as uh,
Right.
there's so many things. I think it's
It's
even harder
happening.
if you're not going to meet up in person. It might be even
Yeah.
harder to get to stick to it. But I think that something like that would be really important now.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, if you do one, keep me in mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
Yeah.
think your shoe talks, which you've been doing every day for like 3 weeks now, has
Yeah.
really,
We'll keep on going.
yeah,
Yeah.
like been a
It's
cornerstone to
inspiring.
listen in, right? Yeah,
Yeah, it's really inspiring, and it's different with makers who are independent and
right,
singular versus like a group or
right.
a company or with a brand. Yeah, it's great to have that conversation. I think the conversation is what we need, you know. Um,